We could start. I mean, I'll do my introduction and announce you, and maybe by then some more people have come in.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. So, everyone, the 40 of you, welcome to the 7120 Membership Committee virtual meeting on virtual fundraising. We thought this would be something interesting for our clubs in our district. When I talk to different clubs, it seems to be one of the main concerns is how do we fundraise during the pandemic? So Cecily here, she's our speaker tonight. She goes around and speaks to different districts and clubs about just this item. So I wrote to her, asked her if she was interested in coming. She said absolutely. And talked to Scott, our immediate past membership committee chair, who now works with Cecily on a higher level as a regional membership guy in Zone 32. And Kevin Mooney, who is our membership committee chair now for the district. Kevin's the one that's running the Zoom. And Scott will be our moderator and introduce Cecily. So with that, thank you all for coming. And here is Scott McDonald.
Thank you, Linda. And thank you, Cecily, because everybody finds Cecily in her little corner, up here, at least on mine.
She's waving.
There she is. She's waving at you. She will take over in just a minute. But we're very pleased to have Cecily here. I met Cecily about, I guess, a little over a year ago as a zone training in Connecticut. A very, very knowledgeable Rotarian on a lot of subjects. This is just one. So Cecily, we may ask you back to talk about some other topics.
That's what we're here for.
Very good. Well, let me give you a little background, and then I'll go of Cecily, and then I'll go over some of the ground rules. We do have a pretty good crowd, so we're going to have to pay pretty close attention to the ground rules so we don't have chaos during the presentation. But first of all, I'm very pleased to introduce to you Cecily Smith. Cecily has been a member of the Rotary Metro of New York City for 11 years, serving as president and many other board roles. In her home district, 7230, she has served as communication and conference chair, as well as working on group study exchange and alumni teams. Working as a coordinator on 3 zone young professional summits, led to current roles now as Zone 32 Assistant Regional Coordinator for membership.
Can somebody tell him he got muted?
Scott, you got muted.
Got muted.
About 3/4 of the way through.
Okay, where was I? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, we're caught up too. I work on the zone level with you.
Okay, all right. So did I get to the working as a coordinator on 3 zone young professional summits? Did I get there? Led to the current roles now as Zone 32 Assistant Regional Coordinator for Membership and Club Innovation Advocate. So again, thank you, Cecily, for finding the time to join District 7120 on this very timely topic tonight. So let me go over a couple of quick ground rules. If we could mute ourselves as we begin, Cecily is going to do a slideshow about 20 minutes or so to well, get the wheels turning and get some ideas generated. If you have questions, you can always use the chat box. She can respond to those upon conclusion. And once we get past, and you probably have some questions that are generated during the presentation, save those, and I will do my best once we get into the discussion phase, the Q&A phase, to go back and forth on the screens. If you raise your hand, and I will try to coordinate this so that we don't have more than one person asking questions or offering input. Obviously, you can share ideas as well as we go through. And if you are muted, all you have to do is press the space bar for input when it's your time to ask your question or give some input. So I got it covered. Linda, Cecily, Kevin, we all set?
Yeah, we're all set. Everybody is muted except for you and Cecily right now.
One thing, we do have a closed captioning, and if you're interested in closed captioning, go down to the bar that says closed captioning and you shall receive.
Very good, thank you. Okay, Cecily, the stage is yours.
Great. Well, 7120, welcome. Thank you so much for having me tonight. This is a hot topic for every district. Clubs everywhere are struggling and trying to figure it out. So if you guys are feeling a challenge by it, you are not alone. So as Scott said, I'm going to run through slides. Feel free to throw questions in the chat box. And then afterwards, we're going to have a conversation together. And sometimes that's the best part as I'm talking to districts, where we come up with new ideas and people share some experiences and their own insights. So I am going to share my screen and we're going to get started. Okay. Let me just close that. Okay, sorry, let me present. Okay, everybody. So we are talking about fundraising in a changed world. And I like to start with this picture because we are in a changed world. This amazing picture is not possible now, will not be possible for quite a while into the future, having so many people come together. That's the nature of the pandemic. It changes the world, and what happens on the other side is always a little bit different. We will get through this. We will come through to a new normal, and in everyday life and in our society and as Rotary clubs, we will have to figure out what works best for us in our new normal. Some things that we're finding that we're doing right now are ideas that we can take with us for the future. Before the pandemic, talking to Rotary clubs about meeting online, and half the Rotary clubs would go, no, we don't do that. Now, look, I can come to you from Manhattan. People can meet from around the world. What we find are some advantages to doing things online. And as we talk about fundraising today, we're going to look at what we can do right now and some good ideas that you guys can go forward with into the future. So community is about doing something together that makes belonging matter. And yes, for most Rotarians, everything has changed. But what's important is it's not our values and what we do, because we are needed more than ever. It is how we connect and operate that's now very different. So just keep that in mind. It's not the what, it's the how. We just have to think of new ways to keep and build our community. And yes, the big question right now for a lot of Rotary clubs is, how do we raise money? The good thing is virtual events can be very successful. The pre-work is more consequential than the event execution. You have to be willing to put the work and the campaign in together and just do the work before the event. The post-event work is also key, because you're not necessarily coming together in person and hugging someone and shaking their hands and having a drink together. You're doing this virtually. So the post-event work to maintain those relationships, build your Rotary audience is more important than ever too. Before we talk about online though, I want to give you a success story, the conversion. Rotary Club of Whitby Sunrise normally has an annual Rib Fest, drawing 50,000 people over 3 days, raising around $125,000. Obviously wasn't going to happen this year. This year, they partnered with local barbecue restaurant and brewery, sold the meals through their Rotary Club website, $1,100 online dinner orders that were either picked up or delivered by a team of Rotarians and friends. They had a live concert on their website, an art show and a paint night for kids on their website. Their 2-day event had a profit of $20,000, and a favorite community event continued this year. So this is important. If you have a famous annual event that you are known for, is there a way you can think outside the box and bring it to your community again safely this year? So something is distant, something goes online. And no, you might not make the same kind of money because it's a different kind of event, but your community will understand that, and your annual community event still gets to continue. But let's talk virtual now. Virtual events are accessible to a wide audience. You're not just dealing with people in your community, you have an audience now that goes around the world. You can invite friends and family and colleagues and Rotarians and the people from your friendship exchanges we were talking about before, and your past global scholars. And your audience reach now is so much broader than before. And it's more accessible because anyone can come. People who couldn't afford the ticket to your gala or couldn't get a day off of work for the golf outing or don't like golf can come to this event. You can bring a lot of people who are involved in causes you're in, who work with centers you volunteer at and other nonprofits in the community. You can bring people together in a much more inclusive way. Also, if your Rotary Club is trying to be more inclusive and more reflective of the diversity in your community, going to something online is a lot less threatening. Buying a ticket to a real-world event, showing up in person where you don't really know anybody and you don't know if you will be welcomed, can be intimidating. Whereas if someone sees an event that's online, it's just a click of a button and they can show up. So you have an opportunity online to really reach outside your typical audience and broaden your Rotary audience. Also, if you have a Rotaract or an Interact club, they can be really helpful partners. Not in the, okay, we've got some discounted tickets for Rotaractors, or they come free and they can help us do check-in. No, your Rotaract and Interact partners can be real helpful partners to you for event ideas, social media promotion, increasing your audience, and more. Never underestimate the value of a good TikTok video that goes viral, or that, I'm generalizing, but that Rotaract and Interact may have a good handle on social media and online things that your Rotary Club might not. So include them in anything that you might be planning. And this is what's important when we're doing things online. Your mission, your vision, and your values are more important than ever. People come to the barbecue or the rib fest because they like the barbecue. They come to the pancake breakfast because it's something to do with the kids on a Saturday. They come to the wine tasting because we like to taste wine. When you're doing an online event, it's really important you talk about your mission and your vision and the impact. Why should I give you my money? What will the impact be for my donation? You want to make that connection. I'm going to share a slide and then explain a little bit the reason behind it.
We've been here before, fighting the problems and fight back. But we can shift the status quo because we see opportunities where others see obstacles. We're change makers and problem solvers, uniting over 1 million minds to address complex issues facing communities around the world, including yours. With passion and purpose, we've led the efforts to put an end to polio. Now eradication isn't just possible, it's plausible. Every day we're investing in a new generation of leaders so we can continue to provide access to clean water, tackle global health concerns, support education, and build the foundations of peace across borders. We're working together as partners and professionals while making friendships that last a lifetime. We're Rotary, and there's no limit to what we can do.
So hopefully that video played okay for you, and you guys will get a link to it. The reason I shared it is, if you look at the image on the left side, or whatever, it's the old logo. The branding is not correct. And it doesn't really tell me anything. Please donate to what? 25 years of what are you doing? Who knows? Branding is really important for your online events and for your promotion of it. And an important thing is you're writing your messages to you. Can you watch this with me? Would you like to help with correct branding and fonts and logos? And you're making this an online connection with a video like this. You make an emotional connection to the audience reading it. And the stats show there's a better response rate and reshare rate and all of that too. But you get more people who want to help and donate. And there are professional videos like this, but do not underestimate the power of a good phone video. People who want to talk about why they volunteer, why they donate, why they're involved. A 30-second video where their passion comes through on their recording is super helpful in your event as you're promoting it. So yeah, when you're talking about what you're raising money for, the event message should be short, simple, relevant, and centered on the mission. Why should I donate? What will the impact be if I give you my money? So we're going to talk about the ways we raise money virtually. And first off, for most of these things, you don't want to charge a ticket price. You don't want to box yourself in with a preset event, because people will register and pay that and then not necessarily be motivated to donate more. As well as the fact that people's financial situations now they vary. And when you have an open-ended online event saying, come and help us donate, people who can't afford a lot will donate what they can. People who can afford more will. A good example is my district's installation celebration, which is not intended to be a fundraiser, but we said, hey, if you can donate to the annual giving fund, that would be great. Please share what you did. Some people didn't donate. A lot of people donated $10, $20, but we also had people donating $500 to $1,000. And a fundraiser made about $6,000. The point being is you want people to come and be interested, make an emotional connection about the impact of your mission and your projects, and they will donate what they can. And people who can't donate a lot can still feel involved and contribute, and people who have the ability to donate more will. The stats are showing that people still are making donations. So a virtual fundraiser is a campaign or event that takes place entirely online and allows supporters to engage with your cause from anywhere. An online auction or gala, a virtual peer-to-peer event, a virtual challenge or do-it-yourself campaign, or an online campaign. And we're going to go through what that means. A silent auction, you're listing out items, you're showcasing photos, you usually start bidding before the event, so it leads up to the event. And again, you guys will get a copy of the slides, so don't worry about catching all of these. And in the midst of the silent auction, there's often a bit of a live auction element, and you're talking about your mission as well. And it's a little counterintuitive, but if you are a Rotary Club that is not that tech savvy, but you know people who will donate some good stuff for auction, and you've got a good audience, you know, that will do the bidding. Doing an auction is actually not that hard. Sometimes you will pay a fee for an online auction company. So you get to use their infrastructure software and their advice, and they help you set it all up. So it's worth paying a small percentage if you're getting this help. And you guys will get a spreadsheet at the end and by email that gives a good overall evaluation of online auction companies. And a success story of this is right in the middle of March this year, a Philadelphia nonprofit has a big annual gala that's their major only fundraiser for the year. It had to cancel because of COVID. They went online. A lot of work beforehand. Laser focus on major donors. A lot of hand-holding to make sure they understood. Communication to be noisy. Getting influencers and ambassadors to get their message out. Figuring out how to go slow, prepare for bids to come in, to fill the drag time, practicing, testing, practicing. Tech support with a hotline number, connecting with donors, Facebook chatter and Facebook Live. All of this came together, and their normal event where they raised a little over $1 million, they raised $900,000. Keep in mind, online events do not have the same overhead. Your gala, you have to sell a certain number of tickets to be successful, or a certain number of spots at your golf outing or something like that. An online event does not have the same kind of overhead, so you have a lot better ability to be successful in your fundraising. And even if you don't match your fundraising goal, you don't have the same overhead that you must hit. A gala event has to be shorter than a real world event. Many of us are zoomed out after a workday spent online. You typically want to keep it 45 minutes to an hour. You want to share the impact of your donations. Again, why should I donate? What will the impact be? Keep the content relevant and meaningful. Keep it fun and entertaining. How can you involve guests via a chat box, via polls, on Facebook Live so people can be tuning in with emojis? Is there a way to bring a real world touch with a mailed invitation or a signature cocktail that you're sharing before the event, or other aspects of the event that you can let people do to prepare at home? One successful thing a nonprofit recently did was have a party in place basket. So for $500, someone could purchase a basket with a $100 gift card to a local restaurant or two. So several local restaurants got support by gift certificates purchased. They get to be listed as community partners. There was also donated wine, some purchased food goodies from the neighborhood, and some swag for the nonprofit. So it cost them a little under $200. Basket sells for $500, and people at home feel VIP when they've got that basket that night. Is there an aspect to your online event that you could have a tangible, real-world pickup or drop-off? Peer-to-peer fundraising means you're using individual participants or a team to raise money via social networks. You're pledging to walk, run, dance from anywhere. You could have an online talent show. I recently spoke to a district that's actually going to be doing that and have a Rotary talent show where people are pledging and voting for favorites. You could have a cake decoration or a cooking competition where people are voting and demonstrating and showing their work. The team shares the mission, and they fundraise individually with their networks. So they are all reaching to their own networks. So it's a broader appeal than everyone in the immediate Rotary circle. A success story of this: Rotary District 7070 could not have their annual AIDS walk. So they turned it into a self-walk online event where every club involved picked either an AIDS or community health organization in their area they were raising money for. And you could walk at home. You could walk in a scenic area. You could recreate a historic walk or dress in a funny costume. Video it if you want, raise money on a peer-to-peer fundraising platform, and it led up to a YouTube walk party on July 29th where there were contests for the winning videos and some prizes and fun stuff. And this is what's important on their website. This part: I'm not a Rotarian, can I help? You sure can. When you do an event like this, you get people in the community who care about your cause, who don't have to be a Rotarian, who go, oh, I want to raise money too, I want to do this. And then you have a potential future Rotarian, but you get more people who can run with the event and raise money for you. A virtual DIY challenge, similar. You're raising for fundraising goals. You get a prizes or drawings for top fundraisers, donating a special day or holiday to really push the drive to raise money that day. And you could have a challenge. I don't know who remembers the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge from about 5 years ago. Dump a bucket of ice water on your head. Say, I donated $200 to ALS, and I challenge Scott and Linda to do the same. And then they do it and they challenge other people. That went viral, and that simple thing raised millions and millions and millions of dollars. Is there some funny video thing that you guys can do that you could challenge people that would then raise money? An online drive has to be pretty simple, easily understood, resonant, and you want a branded community impact showing the Rotary name. This is a good success story. Rotary Markham Sunrise partnered with Canada Cares to provide Rotary meals for healthcare workers. I get this. My $15 is going to help a healthcare worker with a meal, supporting a local business, keeping a local restaurant open. So this Rotary Club raised about $10,000 of the overall $52,000 involved, giving back to local restaurants. People get that. You could have an online campaign that you just get out there and get out there repetitively on your social media, email, website, because stats show it takes 6 to 7 reach outs before people donate because they forget or they get busy or whatever. So you got to get it out there a few times, but an easily understood message can be very successful. This is the one thing where you might want to you want to sell a ticket for. If it's entertainment, a fun, activity-driven event that is low stakes and can be repeated often with tickets sold in advance. North Shore Rotary Club has virtual bingo every week, $10 a ticket. And there are, you could just pretty much Google how to do virtual bingo and you'll find a lot of sites that'll help you figure it out. $10, it's fun. They don't raise a ton of money every week, but it's a consistent thing they do. I've been to E-Club Hawaii Drag Queen Bingo Night. It's $20. It was hilarious. They do it once a month. Rotaract Club in Manhattan had a wine and paint night. I know clubs that have done pub trivia. Or if you have a connection to an A-list speaker, you sell a ticket. A Rotary Club in Australia got actor Sam Neill of Jurassic Park and Elsewhere fame. And normally their meetings are free, but this time they sold $25 tickets because this relatively small group of people could have a Q&A with this famous actor, and they raised $4,000 for a local Australian Actors Equity Fund. So if you have someone in your club who's got a well-known connection, sell a ticket and have a Q&A with them. What do you do now? Now you talk to all your club, not just the board. Talk to all the members, give even the quiet voices a chance to be heard. There is no idea too silly to bring up. Look for who can do what, who has skills, who's good at graphics or is willing to learn and go on Canva, who's good at Zoom tech or is willing to learn or does it for work, who knows connections for entertainment or food or whatever it is. Talk about all your ideas and see what you can come up with, and don't be afraid to try. And then you do your research. You find Rotary impact videos like the one I shared for you. OneCause.com is a company you can hire to help for your online event, but more importantly, their resources section has webinars and blogs that tell you so much about all sorts of fundraising events. It's a great next step learning for whatever kind of fundraising event you want to have. There's evaluations on peer-to-peer fundraising. There's a variety of online auction possibilities. Again, you'll get these links and you'll get an auction spreadsheet. You could have a golf tournament online where people golf self-distanced out in the real world golfing, and they virtually report their results. And Zoom, Facebook Live, Crowdcast, etc. Everyone has tutorials and YouTubes. If you don't know how to do it now, that's fine. Get 1 or 2 people in your club to take the time to learn and practice it and figure it out. This is the fine print for New York, but basically, you're allowed to raise money online. It is, of course, a legal thing. However, the fine print in state to state, whether raffles, bingo, casino games, nights at the races, how much exempts you from your normal blanket fundraising, that can vary from state to state. So you check the fine print for your area. You could use your state AG or charities bureau. So it's not a big issue, but it is the thing. You check your fine print, ask some questions just to make sure you're fine. And then you plan your event. What's it going to be? How are you going to run it? The key message should be repeated throughout the program. What is the impact of the dollars? How much have we raised so far? Do we have like an online screen with that thermometer update? Mix of live action and pre-recorded, because you want to involve your audience. Right now you're just sitting here listening to me blather on. You want an event where we're seeing people on screen, where there's an opportunity for breakout rooms and people can talk to each other, or a video, or there's music, something to create a feeling of being together. And this is the key thing, you're planning it out. You're creating a run of show. So to the minute, you know how it's going to happen. Who's going to speak for how long, what kind of video, where it's coming from. Know that the end result will always take a few minutes longer than you're planning, because that's the nature of technology. You staff it, you have more than one host, you practice it, you check the tech, you figure out how you're going to roll with the glitch. Sometimes the video doesn't play, sometimes something happens. So you practice it, so you know what to do if there's a glitch. And then you plan your campaign, because it's not a one-day event. It is a social media and email plan that leads up to it. You want a message and impact videos. Like I said, a simple phone video can be huge. And your social media and email plan means literally you make a list of all the kinds of posts you can have for videos and messaging and what it is and what your event hashtag might be or other hashtag you'll use on every single post. You match it up with the calendar and you figure out where your posts are going to go. You're going to have a fundraiser along the way where people can an easy way to click a button or a link that will bring them somewhere to donate. Because maybe they can't come to your fundraiser that night, but they see the video, they see a post, they go, okay, yeah, I'll throw you 20 bucks and make a donation. And you activate your advocates. And that means you're not just posting on your Facebook page. That means you're getting your members to post on their page. That means you're sharing with the district. That means you're asking your friends with good Facebook, Instagram, Twitter followings to say, hey, can you share this? Can you retweet this? You can even ask a celebrity to retweet it. I've seen on Twitter Lin-Manuel Miranda or people like that retweet a fundraiser and have it go viral. It never hurts to ask people to help share. It's free, it's easy. Get people to get the word out. The point being you're building momentum that leads up to the event day. So you're fundraising along the way, but then you're getting more people there and excited. A success story of this, Twin Bridges Rotary had a Gift of Life month-long campaign that led up to Giving Tuesday in early May. Throughout the month, they had videos, they had stories, they had people from doctors to Rotarians to Gift of Life, the parents to Children Helped, all sharing their stories. And it led up to a Facebook Live telethon-like event that ran through most of the day, but it was the kind of thing you could pop in and out of. You weren't stuck on for the whole time. Their goal was $2,500. They raised over $27,000. And the link here leads to their YouTube site that shows the kinds of videos that they used. So how do you connect on social media? We were talking about that. You want your message to be on brand and accurate with good graphics. Pictures are important. Videos are important. You change up the message. You're not writing the same words every time you post. And you want to write it to you. It gets a better result, but it helps make that connection. You get it shared everywhere you can think of. You associate other partners. If there's another hashtag that's relevant, UNICEF or some other cause or whatever it is, you want to build that hashtag relevance and your audience. And the other reason you want to build your audience by understanding who follows, by understanding who registers to your event, who is interested and involved, is because you are building an audience of people who might help Rotary, who might volunteer, who might donate again, who might become Rotarians. And maybe the fit for them isn't your club. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's a new club in your district. You never want to let a group of potential Rotarians just fall by the wayside. You don't want to have too hard of a sell, but you want to build a Rotary audience that may be interested in staying and helping in their community. The big thing is you say thank you multiple times. You can get graphics and things ready before your event. So right after the event, you can get the word out quickly. You report on the event results and the impact. Because of you, this school will be built. Because of you, we are stocking a food pantry for a month. Or because of you, PPE is supplied for this hospital. Whatever it is, you're sharing how the dollars will be used. You're upbeat and grateful, and you're building a sense of community in your thanks that should be shared everywhere. And you can still have sponsors. The people who always used to help sponsor your events in the past are still out there. Ask them, do they want to sponsor or donate to your event again? Would they like to make a video explaining why they always sponsor your club? And the big donors and the sponsors, those are the kind of people who should get a thank you note in the mail. That whole real world mail thank you is so nice of a touch now that we're going virtual. So do include your sponsors, and your sponsors' logos can be shared throughout your online event as well. This is the most important thing. do something. If it works, do more of it. If it doesn't, do something else. Don't be afraid to try. You don't have the same overhead issues as real world events. And a lot of it is just managing your idea, doing the work to plan it well, doing the work to have good branding, doing the work to get the word out on social media. And you may meet your fundraising goal, surpass it, or not meet it. But either way, you're trying something and you're raising money and you're learning what you'll do next time. So thank you again. We're going to talk together and have some Q&A. Again, I'm a club innovation advocate, so I'm a team of 4 in our zones 28 and 32, working on new innovative kinds of Rotary clubs. And I also work with Scott as a membership assistant coordinator. So I'm going to stop sharing. And now let's talk. So if you have questions in the chat, or people can raise their hands, however we want to do it.
Thank you, Cecily. Fantastic. Wow. A lot of information. My head's kind of spinning a little bit here.
That's why we'll get the slides. And I would say people take the slides or the video back to your club and say, all right, y'all, watch it on your own time, and then let's discuss.
Very good. Now I understand, Linda, this program is going to be on our website, the district website, so people can go and take a look at not just the slides, but this entire program.
I believe Kevin is going to send it over there, and we'll
I'm
put
going
it
to send
both
it
up.
to Tom and let Tom put it up on the district website.
So it should be up there quite shortly then. Okay, good. Questions, anybody? Any input? Any thoughts? I'm looking for hands waving.
Go into chat.
Yeah, it'd be easier.
I'm willing to talk for a minute.
Sure.
Dick Dubois from Elmira Rotary Club.
Hi, Dick.
We did a virtual beer fest in May, and it was put together relatively quickly, but it was really quite successful. And we partnered with 3 local breweries who sold beer and delivered beer to people's homes ahead of time. And then we had a 4-hour live Zoom event as well as a Facebook live event. And we got the idea, Tom Brown, who many of you know, is our district social media person, came up with the idea, and he got the idea from a Rotary Club in Kiev, Ukraine, and we got them involved. They actually were at our Zoom Beer Fest, and we had probably 40 people that popped in and out over the 4 hours, but we raised $3,000. $1,000 went to each of 3 organizations in town that were feeding people in need during this time. And the breweries actually raised just under $1,000 for their beer sales. So it was really turned out to be a very fun event. But
That sounds amazing. Now, was the beer sold through the brewery's websites or through your club's website, and then the breweries delivered?
the beer was sold through our website. We were paid, and then we paid the breweries.
Brewery.
But we sold tickets. It was $5 to get into the event, and then we had a whole bunch of other $10 for buying a beer that you would buy if you went out, $50 if you were to buy a meal if you went out, or $100 if you were to go someplace and get a hotel room. So
Right.
it was making donations based on. We also had an online silent auction. So it ended up being a fun event. It really went over quite well.
That sounds amazing. A district I just spoke with last week, they're doing a virtual wine tasting soon, where it's when you do it like that, it's more community limited for the event, but they're selling, passes through a local wine shop who will have the wines available for pickup and delivery, leading to an online event where people will be tasting together, have the sommelier talking it through. And it's a fun way to do it.
The Rotary Club it was the International English-Speaking Club in Kiev, Ukraine, then went about a month later, did an online vodka fest. Several of us from our club joined that. It was really fun. There were people from all over Europe, somebody from Japan, as you said, it can be a real international event, and it was a lot of fun.
That's very cool.
Thanks, Dick. Fantastic.
I
Anybody
see-
else have questions or input, some sharing?
Well, I saw a comment in the box from, it looks like Kevin, about their pasta dinner that always has a to-go option. That's that great idea of a conversion. You know, this year it may all be to go or delivery if you've got a team of Rotarians who help deliver. So are there, you know, those dinners that people often have, you might not raise as much money, but you could still have that annual community event. So
We have a very strong following, and it's our 35th year for the pasta dinner. So we're not expecting a real major loss with going totally takeout this year.
that's great.
Got an interesting maybe take on this. A while ago, we organized a community Zoom, and we had past exchange students from really around the world on, and it was very successful. But if you take that concept and you want to go international for whatever your Zoom fundraising is, bring in your past exchange students and ask them to promote it in the country where they are. You know, it's looking at the Rotary alumni. You had mentioned the exchange also, but youth exchange, you can tap into that connection to really expand your reach. And I think the main point is that you don't have to just rely on, you know, on a Zoom platform. You don't have to rely on just your community. You can think in a much bigger scale and how to make it attractive.
Thanks, Ralph. I noticed, Karen, if I can share, you said on the chat something that actually I was thinking about along these lines, and that is our technical skills are pretty limited. And I guess I would share Karen's thoughts. Who in the district are there people out there that can give us some guidance? And besides some of that, now Cecily did have some links, some info resources listed, but I think there's nothing like somebody that can actually sit down with you and give you some one-on-one or small group guidance on how to do these things. Are there people out there that can help us?
We have a couple in the Irondequoit Club that could do that.
And certainly Rock City Rotary knows how to do that.
And Tom Brown, who's from the Elmira Club, there's also the district social media chair. He put this thing on basically he set the whole thing up and made it happen pretty much by himself. He knows how to do that, and he's willing to share the ideas of the Beer Fest of how that's happened. He can be contacted through the Rotary for the district website.
That might be an idea for your district, to have a meeting where you get a few people to talk about some execution ideas, not necessarily like what the fundraiser topic is, but these are the steps for our beer fundraiser that we did on social media or branding or how we ran our online event. So people can kind of understand, like, our event, you know, we had a run of show, and then we did a breakout room, and then we had a video, and whatever it is, it can become a Q&A of some success stories. But as I see someone shared in the comments, YouTube, everyone, Zoom, there are tutorials. I was never on Zoom before March of this year. One can learn, and you practice it. The first time I had to do a webinar, I called my mother, and I was like, okay, Mom, you know, let's figure out how we do this. So you find someone you can practice with, and you get a few people in your club who can learn it. So out of everyone in a Rotary Club, there's probably at least 1 or 2 members who can watch the videos and learn, but then share the best ideas.
It sounds like where there's a will, there's a way to do it.
Yeah, no, I think it's just a matter of thinking of it that you're changing the thought of this monumental, scary thing into small bits of work that you break down in tasks and go, wait, we could write down kinds of social media posts and match it to a calendar and then schedule it. And we could do the, branding center for our posts. And, that idea of once you start thinking about it, it's not that hard. You just break it down into easy steps and
Excellent.
share the work.
Thank you.
It's just a new thing. If you think of, you know, the pasta dinner every year that you guys have, there are steps involved. You know, there were always things that would go on, and it may be easier because people have been doing it every year, but that's complicated. So when you're changing it to doing something virtual, it's just a new set of steps to think about. But if we can end polio, we can learn how to do Zoom videos.
Good point. Any more comments or questions? Sharing. So we're already doing some really interesting and effective things in our district. I've seen a few other things that have come across either through Facebook posts or whatever. And so things are happening, but clubs are still looking for these ideas, and we really appreciate what you brought to us, Cecily. There's a lot of food for thought. I'm going to be revisiting your slideshow. And now that you've provided the narrative and some background, I think that'll give us information that we can use to go forward and maybe start to take on some of those small steps. Maybe a small project at first, see how it goes, we build on that. Lord knows we're probably going to have some time to do it because we don't know how long our current circumstances are going to last.
Exactly. And you can also think about doing things as an area, because you have a number of small clubs together. We're virtual anyway, so your reach is theoretically worldwide, but in an area at the very least, you're, you know, not that far from each other, and you can pull the skill sets. Just like in the real world, I live in Manhattan, and the Manhattan clubs do at least 1 or 2 events all together every year, all the Manhattan clubs, because we're stronger together. We get more people, we get more money, there's different skill sets, and you're sharing the load. You can look at doing something as an online fundraiser for your area, which kind of has a really good community impact. And then within 4 or 5 clubs, there will definitely be someone who knows how to do Zoom or has a handle on social media or has some good sponsors, and you pool that. Or you do a district fundraiser for a common cause. You might think about, if you guys are talking about polio or shelter box or any of these super resident Rotarian causes, or something like community food pantries, you know, where it's a common thing that if everyone has that like common Rotarian cause, do it as a district fundraiser, and different peer-to-peer fundraising sites might allow clubs to sign up. So the district might have to do a little bit more work of figuring out the software, but then everyone comes together. In my district this year, I'm helping to organize a World Polio Day walkathon, where before the event, people can walk on their own, at home, outdoors, in a costume, because it's the week before Thanksgiving. And it will lead up to a World Polio Day telethon-like event with speakers, fundraising online, and some judging of some of the funny videos. So like that kind of thing, the district has to do the work and figure out the graphics and how it's going to all go together. But then the Rotary Club just goes, oh, okay, I sign up here, I can do that. Oh, I go walk somewhere, I can do that. Oh, wait, I want to dress up and film myself. Yeah, I can do that. You know, whoever wants to do that part. So a district could help make a common cause for your clubs to all raise money for something that everyone in Rotary typically gets behind.
I think what comes to mind, I can't help but think, our new area of focus, supporting the environment. What a great thing to focus on. And that would bring in some younger people as well. And that could be an area-wide or a district-wide or an outdoor kind of thing we could put together. So DG Linda, looks like we might have some work to do.
Well, there is conversation about a service project that would incorporate all the districts along Lake Ontario. There's that conversation going on. And there is conversation about a potential district fundraiser project for End Polio Now. And I've been trying to meet with the areas. I want to meet with every club while I cruise around to around the district, but I also want to meet as an area for the purpose of the clubs talking to one another about what they're doing and with the hope of collaborating. I never thought about fundraising together. That's a I don't know why I didn't, but that's a great one. I think that's another option that we should toss out there to the different clubs, that not only could you do a service project together, but potentially raise money together, and might make it a little easier, you know.
But you could, yeah, and you could tie it in.
Link the two, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing something for the environment, here's our service project, and it's on this day, and then it leads up to a fundraiser on that day, or vice versa. And you're really getting it out to the community. So, hey, we are of service. We are raising money for a grant that's going to help the environment this way. And here's the new cause. And you get it on your local public access. You know, a lot of local newspapers and TV stations and radios have that public service line and budget. Get it out there. And you could even lead it to a cause-based club and have a new club in your district that's about the environment. And it's a multifaceted approach to your cause that also involves fundraising.
Wow.
I appreciate all your ideas. They're excellent. You got me thinking some more too. So that's good.
That's the idea behind this. I hope we got a lot of people thinking. So do we have any comments or any sharing, any last words from anybody? We've been just shy of an hour. That's pretty darn good.
Great ideas. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Someone else had a good comment about LinkedIn's lynda.com, Linda with a Y, has good training courses for tech learning. So basically anything that's online, there is a tutorial somewhere to tell you how to do it. So you go to Google and you go, how do I do this?
I think that we should all make a commitment to go online and at least watch a tutorial on how to do Zoom or how to do something. Those of us that are sort of low tech, we should take that first step and go online and at least review a tutorial.
Yeah.
That's a great challenge, Matt. That could almost be like a district challenge.
Yes.
An easy one, like who's going to watch a tutorial and then share a link somewhere of what they watched. And it could even be graphics. A lot of Rotary clubs seem to struggle with good graphics and branding. I did this presentation on Canva. I'm not a graphic designer. Well, I have a design background, but still. I didn't make all these pretty pictures. I used Canva, C-A-N-V-A. It's easy. It's inexpensive. There's a way to do it as a nonprofit for free to get an account, which is a bit of a pain, but it's inexpensive enough, like $13 a month. It is a super good graphics tool. So you get people in your clubs to learn something, some kind of tutorial on something.
Yes.
Or go to, as I said, One Cause is a website. You don't have to hire them to do your fundraising as a platform, although you can, but their resources are really good for learning. So go do a webinar on fundraising, on live auctions or something else, or go do a webinar or read a blog on success stories for peer-to-peer fundraising, like walkathons.
Scott, another thought to put things together. I think someone spoke about the world view of things. Someone mentioned friendship exchange.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking youth exchange. You know, we have year over year have a really strong youth network, and to have a reach out to them. So it's a joining of networks. It's the district, and it's this worldwide network of kids, of young adults that have been together for a full year, to involve them, to include their energy and their ideas and their strength within their networks, be it a project or fundraising, but perhaps more a project. To use those networks and blend them together seems to be a huge advantage, I think.
That's a great idea, Bill. And what if you guys were to ask in your district, your Interact and Rotaract clubs, and reach out to your friendship exchange students, especially the ones in your district who went abroad, and say, hey guys, if you were to raise money for a cause, what would it be? And how would you want to do it? And how can we as a district help make it happen? Because you as a district can provide that infrastructure of, hey, we are paying for the Zoom account and, you know, the small cost to having an online event. Reach out to the younger people in your community and ask them what they would do and how they would do it. And they will have some good know-how and ideas, and you're getting them involved in asking their opinion and making them a real partner in your project.
If you look at Rock City Rotary, which is our young club, average age is 28, I believe. You see all of the energy and ambition that they put forth on their website and their group. I think they're up to almost 40 members at this point. And their motto is Saturdays are for volunteering.
That's great.
And they go out and volunteer every weekend. So, you know, putting Interact or Rotaract or all those young people in, it just creates more ambition, more energy, and greater following.
I think a great service project for the Interact Club. Now, of course, not every club has an Interact Club, but a great service project for the Interact kids would be teaching us old folks how to do the social media.
This is true.
Absolutely.
And open those lines of communication. So, okay, I'm looking around. See any hands wave? Fantastic. Thanks so much for the ideas and the sharing from everybody. And of course, a special thank you for Cecily for her time tonight, her expertise, her background, her creativity. You can see why she's involved in the innovative projects for our zone. So with that, any other comments or anything? We are just exactly 1 hour according to my watch. So thank you. And thank you for your comments, both in the chat area as well as sharing with the group as a whole. And Cecily, we will be in touch. And someday you'll come back and share some of your other areas of expertise with us, I do hope. Thank you.
We talk about innovation, we talk about diversity and inclusion, and happy to come back sometime.
Sounds good. I think I'll be calling you.
Okay, guys.
Thanks so much for having me.
Enjoy your
Have a good night,
evening.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.